Hey y'all, welcome to AllieCat Customs. Today we're going to be working on addressing an oil control issue on this bad little WS6. We're going to be installing a Moroso oil accumulator, so y'all stick around. So yeah, the other day, we had this car, we took this car to the track and we did its first shakedown runs of the season. First time you've actually drove this car in over a year.
It's been a year, yeah.
And that car you're way faster on the 60 foot than you was last year too.
Much quicker.
And a few days afterwards, he was going over his logs and I get a text message while I'm at work. It says, dude, we got problems. So what exactly did you find in your logs?
So when I was looking at the logs, a couple days after we were at the track, just kind of checking over some stuff, and I noticed when the car was leaving, we were cutting some low 130 60 foots for this car, and noticed I had about a second of oil pressure drop. It didn't bottom out to zero, but it dropped around 25 psi for approximately 1 second. So not an ideal situation, so definitely wanted to address that. So that's why we're here today. We're going to get this accumulator put in the car, and hopefully we can address that issue.
Yeah, because your pressure, you said use like 80 psi or something close to that, and then
so basically it just idle. It hangs around 50 to 60, and then once the car is running wide open, it gets up to about 70 or 80. So it was dropping. Let's see, when the car would leave off two-step, it would go from about 65 and it would drop to about 25 to 30.
Yeah.
So not ideal.
Yeah, drop that oil pressure that far. I mean, that's anything like that is just. I mean, you could be losing the oil volume, and a car leaving that much boost on and stuff that could hurt some mains or rod bearings in a hurry. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get this thing installed and see how it works. And while we're installing, we'll show you how it works, and then we'll actually show you when we get everything installed, get it charged up, and see how well it works. Also, we're going to go to the track and see if you can make this thing burp like you did the car.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's get started.
All right, so we're under the car here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change out this adapter plate. So this adapter plate here is by ICT Billet. They make a lot of different configurations. This one on here is also an ICT Billet, and it basically just has the 4AN exit for my turbo feed. So I've got the 4AN here, and so what we're going to do for this is I'm actually going to use this ICT Billet adapter plate that has an M16, and then it has the 1/8 inch MPT on the bottom. So the M16 is going to actually connect to my accumulator back in the back of the car, and then whenever this engine sees that drop in oil pressure, it's going to spit that oil and feed it through here and then complete the circuit inside the motor. And then obviously my 1/8 inch MPT is just going to tie into my turbo feed line. So let's start getting this stuff apart, and I'll kind of show you the inside of behind this adapter plate, and we'll talk about kind of how that stuff works. So let's get to that. All right, so I've got the original adapter plate off, and I'm going to be installing the new adapter plate. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of quickly talk about these passageways up here. So we're going to reference kind of how this goes to the motor, but in layman's terms, it basically comes down through this passageway and comes down into the oil filter and then comes back up to this hole right here. So if you actually separate these two, you can actually starve the backside of the engine of oil. So what this is actually designed for is for an oil cooler. So you would obviously, you've got an inlet and an outlet up here. So what you would do is you'd run your outlet to your oil cooler, put it up front of the car, whatever, and then it would come back into this inlet here. Well, with this adapter plate, it actually has the passageway where the oil can actually pass through right there and complete the circuit. Like I said, if you block this off, you will not have any oil pressure. So that's actually designed to pass through and then go back up to the top motor and then distribute all throughout the bearings and all that for the engine. So we're going to put this plate on here and get everything hooked up, and we'll go from there.
All right, so we're at the back of the car here to install the actual oil accumulator, because on F-bodies, there is absolutely no room in these cars for anything. I mean, that's why I don't drive this car, because not Sasquatch approved. But so we've decided to put it back here on the rear frame rail, and it's gonna mount like this. Just put the oil forward. And the way an oil accumulator works is it actually has a floating piston inside the chamber here. And you apply air pressure to the top side with this Schrader valve. So if you put like 10 PSI of air pressure in here, and then when you crank the car up and with this valve open, the oil will fill the accumulator and apply pressure on the back side of the piston. And so you'll have your engine oil pressure. If you got 65 PSI of oil pressure, you'll see the valve here will stabilize out to 65 PSI, because that's where the pressure will stabilize. And if you have a drop in oil pressure, like James does when he launches, the pressure on the backside of the piston will as well as what's in the line, will help to squirt the oil out of the accumulator and back into the engine to make up for any gaps in your oil pressure. So that's basically how it works. And we're gonna get it mounted up and see how well it works in practice instead of just in theory. Oh yeah, you are flammable.
Yeah, I'm very flammable. That's also a gas tank, fully 85, just so you know.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
okay. Does that look good right there? Yeah. Just say when. Go ahead.
Right, going hot. Oh, turn yourself down.
Smoking.
Back up. Go. Back up. Right.
Yeah, I think I'm smaller.
You were.
Go ahead, I'm ready. Got it?
Yeah. See where they go. All right, now you're gonna bolt it.
Oh. That'll work.
She's hanging. Fire watch.
Yep.
Now make sure the inside of that car is not on fire. There ain't no carpet in there.
No, you're on frame.
Yeah,
It's all frame.
good. Because I have seen people lose a car on the lift before doing that.
Yep.
Fortunately, there's a fire extinguisher inside the car. So.
But unfortunately, it's up there.
I figured it out eventually.
You're like, come on, come on, come on.
I figured it out eventually.
And doing a overhead weld is the hardest weld you can do.
I'm glad you're getting some practice.
We welded on military beds up there, which was AR 500 steel beds,
Yes, some strong stuff.
and you're sitting on the ground or sitting on a stool doing it,
Right.
and the weld balls would fall down and explode and hit you in the nuts. Oh my God, it sucked. Let me see if I go. I don't want to blow well towards the freaking fuel tank. There we go.
Where is your power extinguisher?
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah. There's one in my truck.
Okay.
Basically filling holes. Oh, I found a dirty spot. Yeah. That's too ugly. The worst part is when you do an ugly weld on the visible side. Okay, that's better.
Cool.
I couldn't stand the way that looked. I literally just capped an ugly weld with a pretty weld just because I couldn't stand the way it looked.
Ta-da! Smoking! All right, so we got the accumulator installed, got everything cinched up, and now I'm gonna put 20 psi on the backside of this piston, and we'll run it there first. And then we're gonna crank the car and confirm the pressure back here, and then let it fill up. And then what we'll probably do next, we'll actually shut the valve, cut the car off, and then turn everything back on, but not crank it, and just see how much pressure it throws on the sensor in the motor. So we'll get to that.
Like,
A little under 20, we'll leave it right there.
Looking at his screen, the oil pressure's on the right hand side bottom, and he's about to open the valve up to see what kind of oil goes in. Ready, set, go. Hey, it jumped up to 40, and it's holding down. It's at 36, 35, 34. So that shows how much pressure it's putting back into the system. I think that's a pretty good test. It's still at 29.
It's still holding.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool deal. All right, y'all. So we got James's car back out here at the shop, and it's been a month since we took it back to the track after doing the all the baseline on it, and we installed the oil accumulator at the same time. And so we only have one race, 3 passes worth of data on the oil accumulator, and we kind of found that it's basically like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound for what we have going on with your system. And see, I didn't build this engine, so I didn't know, you know, kind of the things. So you was telling me that the F-body oil pans, something about those?
So with the F-body oil pans, typically everything from what I was kind of seeing is in stock form. You know, once you get to a certain point, you got to maybe add a little bit extra in there just for oil slosh and make up for that. But once you start cutting those 1-3-60-foot stuff like that, you really either need to go with an aftermarket pan, or there is an actual baffle option, like a little insert that goes inside there.
Yeah.
So definitely this winter, we're probably going to make an upgrade. I'm probably going to actually kind of rebuild this engine and put a little more displacement in it. But
I'm excited about that.
So definitely need to upgrade that pan, because with that little oil drop and that's just not ideal. And whenever I see it on a log, it kind of makes me a little nervous, because you do that once, you do that a couple times, you may eat a bearing or something like that. And
you end up like my C10 right now, sitting with no motor in it. So. But yeah, we got that. So we had the logs, and if you look, I'll show you the first log, and this was before we did the oil accumulator. And as you can see, when he launches, immediately as he launches, it drops pressure, but it recovers really quick, and it's a smooth transition back in. So it kind of has a burp where it loses oil pressure for just a minute, and then it recovers. So that's one thing I was hoping that by adding the oil accumulator, it would help add oil into it. But as you can see with the second video or clip I'll show you is the next passes that we ran about a month ago with the oil accumulator on. And as you can see, it's really kind of all over the place. It goes down, but it's trying to recover. So, you know, the best I can figure from our limited amount of data is, like you say, you're cutting low 130, 60 foots. It doesn't have any kind of baffles, you know, trap doors or anything in a stock F-body pan. So that's a lot of G-forces trying to clean the oil out of the thing. So most likely it's just a oil supply issue. You're not getting enough oil in there, and as you're losing pressure in the accumulator, then it's trying to fill the accumulator back up and the engine. So you're basically just increased the demand, and it's bouncing. So I think that's kind of where that's coming from. But we're going to keep an eye on it because we're still planning on going to the track some. It's getting hotter. It's getting hotter by the minute here in Mississippi. So some of our racing is going to turn nocturnal for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going to keep an eye on that. And when we do the upgraded oil pan and the bigger motor in there, or that's just something. And we'll come back. We'll revisit this on the oil accumulator because, it works. It done its job as you can see. I mean, it put pressure to the engine, when we did the test and everything. So it works. I mean, it's a really nice setup, but for what we're doing right now, we kind of, instead of fixing it, I think we kind of just made it more of a problem. Or
Sort of, kind of.
we made the problem, prolong the problem instead of just fixing it. So
Unfortunately, it's not just crashing the oil pressure, but it's just it's fluttering, and
I don't like that.
I just don't like it.
I don't like that at all. And like you say, of course, I'm old school, big blocks have the oil pump in the back of the motor in the sump, and it's a short run from the oil pickup tube. I mean, when it pushes, it's pushing oil into the pump. So whereas on LS, the pump's in the front of the motor. Pickup is in the back. So you have to suck the oil from the back of the motor to the front of the motor. And that's just, anytime you put suction on a fluid, you pull a vacuum on it, it can create air. And air don't lube bearings. So that's something that when I really started paying attention, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that they're just like Fords, and Fords are the same problem like that. So oh well. Anyways, we'll end this video here because now we're just rambling about how much I hate LS engines versus big blocks, but whatever.
I always tell folks, just catch a lane. You don't like that LS engine.
Yeah, exactly. Mine's right there, currently catching the bag, so that's all I got. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and keep on coming back here to AllieCat Customs. We gotta have some. Did I burn you?
Oh yeah.
I told you that's why I did what you wanted to do.
That's what that smell is. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure.
It hit the back of your head.
Oh, it was in my hair burning, but I don't want to be like no. So I just kind of like, all right, just deal with it.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.